The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
We did it. We have made it through not only an 82-game regular season grind, we made it through Mike Gorman Day. An emotional day here at TD Garden, but it culminates the right way. Not only a Celtic win, but Mike being celebrated for 43 years of awesomeness. And the best part is, he's still going to be calling games for us here through the first round of the playoffs. And yes, we can finally shift our attention to the postseason. What's up, everybody? POSTGAME POD 82 coming to you as they break down the floor at TD Garden. I do not even know the final score of this game. What I do know is that Payton Pritchard had a monster night, 38 points. I believe it was 12 assists, 9 rebounds. They tried diligently to get him to the triple-double. The Wizards tried diligently to get him to a triple-double, running a final play, and yet does not happen, which is okay because we're going to spend the entirety of this podcast focusing on the day for Mike Gorman and what's ahead with the playoffs. Yes, we're putting this one in the rearview pretty quickly. Credit to Payton Pritchard and the Stay Ready group for another dominant effort here at the finish line of the season, but this day belonged to Mike Gorman. From the every chair in the building having his picture, to the Jumbotron with his image, to the Mike flag they were using on the court, to the dedication of the Mike Gorman broadcast table as part of the halftime ceremony. The Celtics, and I'll give our credit too to all of our behind the scenes people at NBC Sports Boston that put together today's ceremony. Everybody nailed it. It was a perfect situation in a game that otherwise lacked for substance because of the standings being sewed up and the disparity in the records. We got to spend the majority of 2+ hours celebrating Mike Gorman. There were video tributes during the on-court timeouts with everybody from the TNT broadcast group to Mike Breen to Danny Ainge, everybody just saluting Mike, and it was just really cool to see. I said this on our post-game show. You know, sometimes we wait too long to tell people how much they're appreciated, and while Mike has lamented the fact that this entire season really has felt a little bit like attending your own funeral because of everyone going out of their way to, just acknowledge that he's moving on and all that. It's so refreshing that you get this chance to tell him how much he's appreciated, for him to be able to see it over the course of not only today's game, but really the duration of the week. And I'm so glad he got that moment. I'm so glad it comes before he even has to really do his final goodbye. He had a nice little emotional send-off to end this game, but again, he gets, hopefully, at least 4 more games to do in the postseason. We'll see how the schedule looks when it comes out. But just a fun night here at TD Garden to celebrate the legend. I've told you guys before what he means to me. Go back and listen to that pod with us the other day. I'm just really appreciative that the Celtics always sort of nail these things when the jersey retirements or whatnot, but it really felt like they hit all the notes today. Mike got emotional a couple times, especially when mentioning Tommy. You'll hear all that coming up as part of this podcast. But yeah, it's just really cool. I'm actually going to run around the arena when we're done here. I'm going to pick up every placard and just make myself a little Mike Gorman room at the house. Put his picture all over the recording areas of where we do the podcast in the basement. And I'll always kind of remember this. We all got pins. There's season ticket holders got bobbleheads. It's really cool. I'm really, really glad Mike got this moment. I'm really glad the city responded the right way. The one thing that we were talking about on air too was that halftime comes and normally everyone flocks to the concession stands. Felt like 90% of the people stayed in their seats. In fact, when the third quarter started is when everyone made a beeline to go get their food and drink. So what a great moment for Mike to get that attention, to have everybody laser focused on his night. And it really came through here in the arena. I hope it did it at home. I'm going to stop rambling so you can hear more from Mike's ceremony at the Garden. And then we'll talk about the playoffs on the backside.
Final score is Celtics 132, Washington 122. I guess I'm on camera here for a couple of seconds. I just want to say thank you to everybody who stayed through our broadcast and watched all this today. It was mind-blowing for me to have an experience like this, and I can't say enough about the Boston Celtics as an organization in allowing, usually when you just retire, somebody gives you a little watch or something, you disappear into the woodwork, and that isn't the case at all. So thank you, Boston. Thank you, Celtics, and we'll see you for the playoffs.
All right, it is Celtics postgame live. Tom Giles, Eddie House, and no surprise, pure class there from Mike Gorman here on Mike Gorman Day. And I thought it was a phenomenal day from top to bottom. I thought the crowd was great. You had the place packed during halftime and we'll go through some of that as well. Obviously, Scal with the interview and the tributes and everything else, but that was, I just thought, a great day all the way around. And you had the Celtics win on top of it.
That's the main thing. They got the W on top. It sent Mike out the right way in the regular season. Nothing would have been worse than, all of that jubilation, all of that joy, and the tributes and everything, and we didn't pull it off. But I think that the guys came out. They played spirited basketball. Svi came out there, jumping out the gym, caught a lob. Payton Pritchard, back-to-back nights with 30 points in the third quarter, set a new career high. Sam Hauser playing good basketball. I thought that when you looked at what they did, the spacing out there and the way they competed, that's Celtics brand of basketball right there.
Yeah, and obviously all that happened and around everything else for Mike Gorman Day. And I know that you were down on the floor for the halftime tribute, and go through some of the video here as we'll show it to you a second time. Love the Mike chant behind us as well. This crowd's been awesome today. But, you had Wick Grossbeck, Steve Pagliuca there with Bill Bridgen presenting these gifts to Mike. You had the shadow box, the banner, as well as the Rolex. And also the broadcast table that you'll see. But as you're sitting down there, what was that like as you're watching it all?
Well, Abby was sitting right next to me, and she was holding it together until Mike started talking about Tommy, and she got a little misty. I looked over, and she wasn't misty-eyed. She was crying, and I was like, "It's okay, Abby. It's okay." But she was emotional. Everybody was emotional down there. Nobody more deserving than Mike Gorman. Everybody talks about what he's done for 43 years, but a great person.
All right, there's the Mike Gorman broadcast table. Meanwhile, here's Scal and Mike with that interview at halftime.
I love this guy. Love this guy.
How about this, huh?
This is amazing. All day has been amazing. You guys have been just great, and thank you to the ownership for doing this. The stuff that Mike has experienced so far has been just second to none. Now you get a chance to talk.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so as you guys know, Mike grew up in Dorchester, and just talk us through the journey from growing up, loving basketball, and having this job and doing this for 43 years for your favorite basketball team.
Well, I think it's probably a lot of fathers will identify with this. If you have a son, when he gets to about 8 years old, anywhere in New England here, he has one of two choices. He can go play basketball, or he can go be a hockey player. You couldn't do both. So because I couldn't skate, I immediately went and tried to become a basketball player. And I wasn't all that good at that either. But what it did was it lit a fire inside me about a team we had here in Boston at the time who went out and they won world championships every single year. And I'd find those games. Sometimes you had to go late at night at 11:30 to find a championship game, but you could find it if you wanted. And through the years, I just became more and more a Celtic fan as time went by. I never thought I would end up here, that's for sure. But thank you. But I have, and it's, again, it's that one decision you made when you were about 12 years old. You decide, okay, and I actually had a promising career until I discovered I had no left hand, and then it went downhill from there.
Happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Obviously you've spent so many years working with Tommy. First of all, how did you meet Tommy, and then how did this thing all start, and what was it like working with him?
I'm at Channel 12 down in Providence, and we somehow inherited 3 Providence college games that we could do. So I'm at this meeting, and I said, I'll do the games, because nobody at the station knew about it, could do a game. And they said, well, we'll go find some ex-Providence college guy to do the color. And I said, why don't we try to get Tommy Heinsohn to do the color? And they said, Tommy's not going to want to come down to Rhode Island to do some foolish game down here. I said, well, how do we know unless we try? And here's where this becomes a different time. I call a 411 information in Boston and ask for the number of the Boston Celtics. I get it. I call the Boston Celtics. This lady answers the phone. She says, Boston Celtics. I said, yeah, Tom Heinsohn, please. And she goes, gee, Tommy just left, but I'll give you his home phone because I know he's headed for home. That never happened. So I called Tommy, and I make a proposal to him. I say, we'd like to have you do color. And he says, why don't we have lunch? We should talk this over with lunch. He said, where are you calling from? And I said, Providence, Rhode Island. And he said, okay. And he gives me the name of a place that's about 3 minutes from Tom's house, and it's about 50 miles from where I live. So I show up. We have lunch to make it short. He takes a look at the contract I had, and it had the per game fee. He crossed that out and doubled it and put another number on top, looked at me and said, Mike, how's your health insurance looking situation now? And so an hour later, I walk out of that restaurant with a signed contract from Tommy Heinsohn for twice the money we want to offer him and a $10,000 life insurance policy.
He was always selling, right?
He was always closing.
He was always closing.
But that opened the door for me and introduced me to just a remarkable personality. I will get misty if I try to talk about Tom. I think of him every day. Thank you, whoever that was up there. But, I mean, right down to people say, how'd you develop your style as a broadcaster? And many of you have heard this story before, but believe me, it's true. And Dick Lipe, who has been a lifeline for me forever, can back me up on this. But I walked into the old pontoon that was in front of the old hanging off the first balcony, the old Boston Garden. And I walk in and I get my notes spread out in front of me, and I got the color coded as to who scored this and who did that. And Chuck Person, I remember, was the opposition on the other side. It also the notes about him. And I've got them all spread out. And then Tommy walks in, and he's got a cigarette going, and he goes, "What's all this blank?" And I said, "Those are my notes." And he said, "Not anymore." And he reaches down, he crumbles them up with a little ball, and throws them off the balcony. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm saying, what the, and he looked me right in the eye, and he said, "We don't need notes. We're going to talk about what we see out there." And
that's what you did.
We did for 39 years.
Most memorable call and memorable moment. I know they're different.
Memorable call has to be the Eastern Conference Finals. After the Celtics had just had the ball go in, I think it was off of Larry Bird's leg, and there was only 1-2 seconds left in the game, and they were obviously going to lose. All Isaiah had to do was get the ball in bounds, and he threw it in, and Bird. If you watch the tape, it's remarkable because Larry was moving before Isaiah actually threw the ball in. He had made a guess and said, "It's going to go here. I'm going to be there first." He was. He deflected it to Dennis Johnson, who laid it in on the cut, and Celtics ended up winning the game. That call gets played everywhere, and I have to thank a guy named Jeff Grice, who was the guy who puts together all our video stuff, because after the play, when the play actually happened, I said, "And a foul," and there was no foul. And Jeff just took a razor blade to the tape right there, and all of a sudden the foul was gone. And yeah, that's my favorite call. The other one, I don't know if we want to get into that other one, do we? No.
What about when Pierce hit that shot in Harrington's face? Buried it.
Paul likes that.
I like
he really
that
does.
Too. Well, Mike, I know how much all these people mean to you. Is there any last words you want to give to all the people?
Yeah. You know the song from Cheers where they say you want to go where everybody knows your name? That's what made the TD Garden for me. It's a place I could go where everybody knew my name, and the relationship I've been able to develop with everybody who works in this building, not opposing teams, but everybody who works in this building has just been, that's the biggest part of it for me, because just to see all the guys as I walk in, see Jimmy and Jackie from security, and I could go on and on with all the guys. It's just been wonderful. So I'll say that, and to the team, I just want to say, go win this thing. Will you please just go win it?
Celtics fans, let's hear it one more time for the Boston Celtics, Mike Gorman.
Time now to find out who won tonight's Tommy Award, and let's send it back down to Scal for that.
All right, thanks, Tom. Man, we know we have a big log jam at the top for the Tommy Award, but today we're not breaking that tie because my man Mike Gorman, 43 years, and what he had to do today from the time he walked in to the Garden, all the hands that he was shaking, all the gifts that he got, all the tributes throughout today. Come on, this is definitely Mike Gorman's day, and Mike Gorman is going to win the Tommy Award. The crowd, they show love all day. What an amazing event. And the Boston Celtics organization did it right. NBC Sports, they did it right. So Mike Gorman, congratulations. You win the Tommy Award.
All right, Scal, thanks so much. So there you go, Mike Gorman. He's going right to the top, Eddie. He's going right to the top. Number one there for the Tommy Award, and rightfully so. I was thinking, Scal was kind of laying it out there. Mike Gorman had to work harder today on Mike Gorman Day than any other day. I mean, he was here on pregame. He was, the whole halftime ceremony, everything else.
After halftime, that third quarter, I don't know where he disappeared to, but he disappeared. I know he was doing whatever he was doing, and then he came back and yeah,
I think he deserved a break at that point.
It was super busy for him, man, but well-deserved. I mean, it was nothing but love. He got so much love, not only from everybody that's been around him, that's involved with the Celtics organization, but the fans showed him tremendous love. I mean, that standing ovation, that had to really feel good.
It did. How about the tribute also between the first and second quarters? I thought that one really, and you saw Mike get choked up, and he thought, okay, well, it's going to be one of those days where he's definitely, they're going to get him at halftime as well. But I thought the tribute between the first and the second quarter where you saw guys from across the league, I think that really hit home for him.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, if you know, Kenny Smith said it. It was during the third quarter when me and Scal was doing it, and Kenny Smith said, Mike Gorman, 43 years, has seen 80 to 90% of every player that ever played in the NBA. And when you take that in consideration, you're thinking like, wow,
yeah,
he's seen everything. And then that's not to mention the Hall of Famers, the championships that this franchise has brought, but just all the other great players that have been through this league at some particular time. He's been there to be able to witness that.
All right, playoff time, baby. We finally know who it might be. Kind of as we expected for a couple weeks now. The Philadelphia 76ers and Miami Heat land in the 7-8 spots as part of the final day, which didn't land for drama. Some stuff at the top of the standings was interesting. Knicks vault to 2, Bucks slide to 3. Cavs kind of willingly decide to land at 4, which puts them in a potential pathway with the Celtics in round 2, which is interesting. But from here it goes. It's Wednesday night. We'll get 2 Eastern Conference playing games. Heat and Sixers will play to determine the 7th seed. The Hawks and Bulls will play to decide who gets to play the loser of that Heat-Sixers game to determine the 8th seed. So the Celtics will have to wait till Friday night to find out their opponent. You would just start probably thinking about a Heat matchup, maybe a Philly matchup. We know that the Heat one is super intriguing based on all the playoff matchups before. Philadelphia, we'll see. You would suspect if Joel Embiid is closer to full health or, anything near his normal level of play, that Philadelphia will have the advantage in that matchup at the first game, particularly being on their home court. But we got to see how it all plays out, and then we can start breaking it down. We got a whole bunch of content planned for you next week, so we'll still be here, even though we'll be waiting for the games to start. Go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. Go back and watch all the Gorman content. We'll see you in the postseason, baby.